Hello students, welcome to the Hindu News Analysis by Baji IAS Academy. So today we have a set of very important news articles. These news articles are important for both prelims and mains exam point of view. Right? The first important news article is the Women's Reservation Bill cannot wait any longer. We all know that the Women's Reservation Bill that is providing 33 percentage of reservation for women in both Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies not yet passed, right? It is not yet passed, and the representation, the 33 percentage of representation for women in both Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies not yet not yet given, like the 33 percentage reservation in panchayats. However, women have been demanding that there should be 33 percentage of reservation of seats for women. Okay, the next important news article is IPL, an opportunity to bat for climate action. In this article, the authors have linked IPL with the climate action. The next important article, this is very important for prelims exam, right? So please make sure you follow all the points in this article. The core sector's output dipped to 5-month low of 3.6 percentage in March. And next important one is about heat wave. Heat wave is a very serious health disaster or environmental problem, and due to El Nino like conditions, heat wave will impact India this May also. So, in this context, we'll try and understand what is heat wave and what are the major causes of heat wave. The last one is about the Raja Ravi Verma. He was a painter, and this article is particularly regarding an unfinished painting by Raja Ravi Verma, the Parsi woman. Okay, the last three articles are very important for prelims exam, and first three are important for mains examination point of view. And the first important news article is a women's reservation bill cannot wait any longer. Okay, so this is regarding providing a 33 percentage reservation for women in both Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. So according to 17th Lok Sabha, according to the PRS, in the 17th Lok Sabha, there were around 78 women candidates. Okay, 78 women candidates, and it is highest since independence. It is highest since independence. So therefore, there is a need to increase the increase the participation of women, not just in Lok Sabha or in the state legislative assemblies. So therefore, in this context, we will try and understand what is a women reservation bill, what are its aims, and so far what is the progress regarding the women's reservation bill. See, first, before actually discussing this article, first let's try and understand the timeline first, and after the timeline, we will also understand why a woman legislation is matter, or why 33 percentage reservation for women is necessary. So first understand the timeline. It was first introduced in the parliament in the year 1996. It was under the Prime Minister H.D. Devegowda. Please remember this. It was introduced under H.D. Devegowda, and no government passed the bill yet. So now we are in the 17th Lok Sabha. Since independence, no government passed such a bill which is providing 33 percentage reservation for women. Okay. However, the current version called the 108th Constitutional Amendment Act, 108th Constitutional Amendment Act, and the objective of the 108th Constitutional Amendment Act is it reserves at least one third of all seats. One third means 33 percentage of all seats for women in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Okay, so the Constitutional Amendment Act, the current version of the Constitutional Amendment Act is 108th Constitutional Amendment Act. Please remember, it reserves one third of the total number of seats for scheduled caste, scheduled tribes, for women of those groups. Okay, the 108th Constitutional Amendment Act also introduces one third of total number of seats for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe women. Please also remember, in the current Lok Sabha, one third of all constituencies will be reserved for women on rotation basis. Okay, so all the seats or all the constituencies will be reserved for women on the rotation base in the Lok Sabha. Reservation will cease to exist 15 years after the commencement of the constitution. Okay, so after 15 years of the commencement of the constitution, the reservation will cease to exist. Okay, sorry. Reservation will cease to exist 15 years after the commencement of the Amendment Act, the 108th Constitutional Amendment Act. So there will be no reservation after 15 years after the introduction of the amendment bill, because that will provide enough opportunities or level playing field for women to be part of or to increase their representation in Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies, because the society changes its perception towards women. So there will be more number of women candidates, and seats will be given by the political parties, and also the representation of women in the legislative assemblies and the parliament will increase. However, Rajya Sabha passed this bill on March 9, 2010. Rajya Sabha passed this bill on March 9, 2010. However, please remember Lok Sabha never voted on this. In order to, any constitutional bill to be passed, not just it requires not just the approval of the Rajya Sabha, but it also requires the approval of the Lok Sabha and the presidential assent. Since Lok Sabha has not voted on this bill, this constitutional amendment bill not yet implemented or not yet passed. Okay. However, please understand and remember why women legislation is matter in India. Why women legislation or women reservation is matter. Please remember all these points so you can exactly uh, write those points in the mains answer. Okay. For the first point is a better economic performance. The first point is better economic performance. There is evidence that women legislators raise economic performance by 1.8 percentage points per year. So there is an evidence. Whatever constituencies women have been representing, there are chances that they raise their economic performance by 1.8 percentage points per year. Women, criminal charges on women are very less or negligible. They have very fewer criminal charges, because women are only one third as likely as men to be carrying pending criminal cases. Okay, pending criminal cases. Imagine if a man have a 90 criminal cases and women have just 30 criminal cases. So it says that women only have a one third criminal cases as compared to men. Women are less corrupt. Okay, women are less corrupt, so their material assets grow by 10 percentage points less than male counterparts. If woman candidate or the female candidate voted to power, then their material assets grow less than 10 percentage. Their material assets grow less than 10 percentage points. That is much lesser than their male counterpart. And this also indicates that women are less likely to corrupt. So therefore, there is a need for more number of women representatives in the legislative assemblies and Lok Sabha. And women will also take proactive actions to get the work done. The share of incomplete road infrastructure projects is 22 percentage points lower for women than the male legislators. There are several infrastructure programs which run across the country. Okay, so there are few constituencies which are represented by women. They see that the infrastructure projects have been taking place in a speedier manner than compared to their male legislators or the male counterparts. So this is also a strong evidence for the case of women reservation in the Lok Sabha. And secondly, conscientious. Women are more efficacious and less vulnerable to political opportunism. So women would not take the political opportunism. Rather, they work for the larger public interest, or they work for the welfare of the people. So therefore, all these factors make the case for women representation much stronger. Okay, you have to remember all these side headings: better economic performance, fewer criminal charges against women, women are less corrupt, women get work done at a much faster pace, and women are consensuous. Okay, just remember all these points. Now let's jump on to the article. So what it says, that the article says that so women have been able to break the barrier of patriarchy or the ceiling of patriarchy in recent past. Okay, how can we say that women have broken the or breaking the glass ceiling of the patriarchy? Because the representation of women in employment, in science, and in education has been increasing. So now there is a perception developing that women no longer confined to the four walls of a kitchen. So women no longer confined to the four walls of the kitchen. Okay, and in every sector, uh, in every sector, there is a fine footprint of women. However, when it comes to the arena of politics, when it comes to the arena of politics, women still finding it challenging. Okay, so women still finding it challenging to enter into politics or finding a decent space. Okay, this is also evident from the 17th Lok Sabha women, total number of women. There were around 78 women members. Okay, there were only 78 women members out of 542 members. So with this figure, you can clearly find out that women are finding it challenging to enter the politics or finding a space in politics. However, India have achieved the adult suffrage. You know what is adult suffrage? Universal adult suffrage is voting rights. Universal adult suffrage is voting rights irrespective of the financial position, caste, creed, race, sex, or place of birth. India is able to achieve the adult suffrage, the universal adult suffrage, but still women face a significant barriers for in political participation. The best example for this is, even though a 33 percentage reservation provided in local bodies, the main problem in the local bodies is Pati Panchayat. Okay, Pati Panchayat system. The male member or the husband of a sarpanch taking up the responsibilities, even though a female or the woman member is a sarpanch of a particular local body. So therefore, still we have been suffering with the problem of Pati Panchayat, or there were significant barriers for political participation of women, and that has been further depriving women of their right to govern. Okay, all these barriers have been further depriving women of their right to govern. However, it is well known fact that India, it is around 75 years India achieved its independence. However, still Parliament lacks the substantial amount of representation for women, half of the population. Okay, even though we are past 75 years after independence, but women lacked a substantial representation in Parliament and state legislative assemblies. Women holding just 14 percentage of the seats. Okay, as of now, women holding just 14 percentage of total seats. So you can imagine the scale of women participation in the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. However, this is actually the time to acknowledge the systematic exclusion of women from politics. Yes, in fact, there is a systematic exclusion of women from politics, and demand action to create a more equitable political landscape. So more equitable political landscape will also include women, not just include women, but their fair representation will be ensured in the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies through creating an equitable political landscape. Now try and understand. First, during the colonial period and after the independence, there was a promising start. Okay, there was a promising start. But even though there was a promising start, there's still a regression or still lack the adequate representation of women in the political setup or in the political arena. Please understand, women played a very crucial and active role for India's fight against independence. So there are several evidence that suggests that women have participated in the non-cooperation movement, civil disobedience movement, and also in the Quit India movement. They also participated in the Quit India movement. So they have organized. They are known for organizing demonstrations. They led rallies, and they also raise awareness at different levels in rural areas and even in urban India. For example, their active participation was picketing shops. Okay, so along with picketing shops, they also burnt foreign cloth, and they also picketing shops who sell liquor. So therefore, they organized demonstrations and they also raise awareness about the evils of the foreign policy, and also they led rallies. The best example was Sarojini Naidu. Okay, Miss Sarojini Naidu. So she also led a rally during the civil disobedience movement or the Dandi March. So therefore, there were along with that there were numerous female representatives in the Constituent Assembly. Okay, in the Constituent Assembly also there were numerous female members who eagerly participated. And apart from that, there was just a decade ago three of India's largest states, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, and UP, women chief ministers. Okay, West Bengal still have women chief minister. So therefore, 3 decades ago, three of India's largest states also have women chief ministers. Okay, so this is also making that women are capable to govern, and there is a need for providing 33% age of reservation for women. However, despite the presence of such an influential woman, Indira Gandhi, who served as a prime minister of India. Okay, Indira Gandhi. She was an influential woman, and India have two women presidents. Two women presidents, right? So, despite having such a presence of influential women in the Indian politics. So we have regressed since 1980s because of, and the patriarchal backlash has also resulted in the status of women in India being far from ideal. Okay, so even though we have the influential woman in the politics, because of the patriarchal backlash, women still do not get the 33 percentage reservation, and women uh, representation is not adequate in these Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. So therefore, it will not be wrong to consider that the political representation of women is a greater cause. Okay, not just provide them with the token representation, so piecemeal representation of women, just like 14 percentage total representation, but there is a strong case for political representation, that is 33 percentage reservation for women. Earlier we have discussed. So what are the strong cases for women representation in the Lok Sabha and state legislatives? For example, they are less corrupt. Women are less corrupt. They are conscientious. Okay, there is an evidence that woman-led constituencies have, they are progressing and developing in terms of infrastructure or any other welfare program. So therefore, there is a strong case for political representation of women. So also understand the overall discourse of women reservation. Okay, so since several decades, there has been a strong demand for women reservation in India. So the overall discourse of women reservation in India, that particularly originate, I mean, it can be traced back to pre-independence era. Okay, the overall demand of woman representation or woman reservation can be traced back to the pre-independence era. At that time, several women organizations have demanded the political representation of women. Okay, so several women groups or the women organizations, even during the pre-independence era, they have demanded the representation of women. However, after independence, it can be particularly traced back to the year 1955. Okay, it can be particularly traced back to the year 1955. So, what happened during 1955? In this year, the government appointed a committee. Okay, so in 1955, the government appointed a committee, and that particular committee recommended 10 percentage reservation of seats in the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies for women. Okay, so this committee says at least 10 percentage of total seats should be reserved for women, not just in the Lok Sabha but also in the state legislative assemblies. Okay, however, in the year 1980s, okay, in the 1980s, the demand for woman reservation has further gained momentum. Okay, so not just the 10 percentage reservation of women, but in the year 1980s, the demands for women reservation have gained the further momentum. Okay, there was a plan called the National Perspective Plan. Okay, National Perspective Plan for Women. Okay, so this was a plan in the year 1988, National Perspective Plan for Women, and this plan has recommended 30 percentage of seats in all elected bodies, whether it is the local bodies, whether it is state legislative assemblies, Lok Sabha. In all the elected bodies, at least 30 percentage of seats must be reserved for women. Okay, so which agency recommended or which institution recommended? That is the National Perspective Plan for Women in the year 1988. Okay, so after that, this recommendation was also reiterated by National Policy for Empowerment of Women. Okay, this was also reiterated by National Policy for Empowerment of Women. So this was implemented in the year 2001. So please remember the timeline. So earlier 10 percentage of reservation was recommended by a committee that was appointed by the government in the year 1955. But in 1980s, there was a national perspective plan for women, and that perspective plan recommended at least 30 percentage of seats for women in all elected bodies. And the same has been reiterated. The same has been reiterated by National Policy for Women, National Policy for the Empowerment of Women. Okay, so that was implemented in the year 2001. However, we all know that in the year 1993, the 73rd and the 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts have been passed. So these are related to the local self-governance. So in the local self-governance, this particular Amendment Act reserved 33 percentage of all seats in local government bodies for women. Okay, we all know that 33 percentage of total seats are reserved for women. However, it is considered as a significant step because once you started to implement this provision at the local level, there are hopes that this will also be implemented. These reservation criteria will also be introduced in the state legislative assemblies and Lok Sabha so that there will be an adequate number of women members. Okay, so their representation will further increase. So therefore, providing 33 percentage of reservation in the local bodies is a welcome step, is considered as a significant step, particularly towards women's political empowerment, towards the women's political empowerment. However, the unfortunate thing was there was a Pati Panchayat system which is being developed, and the institution of patriarchy still continue to influence the 33 percentage reservation being provided or dilute the 33 percentage reservation being provided to women under the 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Acts. Okay. However, the success of the 33 percentage reservation, which was introduced in the year 1993 through 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act, has given momentum or led to the demands for similar reservation for women in other local bodies. So other elected bodies. So other elected bodies are state legislative assemblies, Lok Sabha. Okay, so women started demanding that they should be given representation in legislative assemblies and Lok Sabha. So, however, in the year 1996, a woman reservation bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha. Okay, so after the 33% reservation provided in the local bodies, in the year 1996, a women's reservation bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha. Please remember this 1996. A timeline is very important. Okay, women's reservation bill was introduced in the Lok Sabha. Now, the bill proposed to reserve at least one third, that is, reservation of the 33 percentage of total seats for women in the Lok Sabha and state legislative assemblies. Okay, so however, this particular bill, uh, providing one third reservation for women, faced strong opposition from several political parties. So this bill at the time faced a strong opposition from several political parties. Since it has faced strong opposition, it was lapsed. Okay, it was lapsed. That means no house passed this bill. No house passed this bill, and that led to the lapse of the bill which provided for 33% reservation for women. However, that was introduced in the 1996, but in the early 2000, in the early years of 2000s, also introduced on the bill. Okay, so that but gained more momentum. So this has gained more momentum in the early years of 2000. However, please remember in the year 2010, in the year 2010, a similar bill providing one third of the reservation for women approved by Rajya Sabha. Okay, so this is a very significant step because providing one third of the reservation for women has been approved in the Rajya Sabha. So, even though that bill was approved in the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha has not passed the bill. Lok Sabha has not passed the bill. So, since Lok Sabha has not passed the bill, the constitutional amendment bill, the bill is bound to lapse. Okay, the bill is bound to lapse. One reason is strong political opposition, and second reason is disagreement, disagreement over the bill. So, because of these reasons, the bill was not passed even though it was reintroduced in the year 2010. In this context, let's try and understand some global examples where countries have given more than 33 percentage of reservation for women, and how can India emulate this and provide 33 percentage of reservation for women. Okay, so here there are some global examples. Okay, so around the world, women leaders are outperforming their male counterparts. Okay. The female or the woman representatives have been outperforming their male counterparts. The best example of this was given, or best example of this is from the Scandinavian countries. Okay, Scandinavian countries. So what are the Scandinavian countries? The Scandinavian countries are Norway, Sweden, Denmark, okay, Finland, etc. So they are called as the Scandinavian countries. So the Scandinavian countries, they implemented policies and the governance structure, and that policies and the governance structure particularly support gender equality. Okay, they particularly support gender equality and women empowerment. So therefore they are providing a level playing field for women, and they also provide adequate opportunities for women to increase their representation in the bodies, right? Elected bodies. And the steps or the governance policies taken by the Scandinavian countries also include the representation and the leadership positions for women. Okay, so this is one such example. Just remember the Scandinavian countries and their policies and the governance structures. And the objective of such policies is gender equality and women empowerment. So the next very important news article, the next important example is from Rwanda. Okay, Central African nation. Rwanda is a Central African nation, and this Central African nation has seen civil wars, conflicts, and even genocide. Okay, so it has seen several crises. So even though it has seen several crises, the woman leadership, the leadership which comprises women, set the nation right, set the nation on the right path. Okay, so that has resulted in significant or key social reforms in this country. So now this country is on the path of development, and it has now not experiencing any conflict, any crisis, or any civil war. So this is one best example of women leaders capable of transforming a nation, transforming a nation towards the path of development. Okay, first remember the Scandinavian countries, and then remember the Rwanda. That was a Central African nation in the African continent. So the next important example is from Norway. So Norway is also a Scandinavian country. Okay, now Norway is also a Scandinavian country, but this is a particular example related to Norway and how the policies and the governance structures in Norway promoted the gender equality and women empowerment. Okay, so Norway introduced the quota system in the year 2003. Okay, the quota system similar to the 33 percentage of reservation for women. Okay, so Norway introduced this quota system in the year 2003, and this quota system required 40 percentage of seats, and this quota system requires 40 percentage of seats on corporate boards. So in a corporate sector, in corporate companies, there are corporate boards. So total of 40 percentage of seats must be reserved for women in the corporate boards. Okay, now it is the high time. It is the high time. India should emulate these examples, whether it is from Scandinavian countries or whether it is from the Central African nation, Rwanda, whether it is from Norway. Okay, so it is high time that India should emulate such practices. India should provide 33 percentage of reservation or one third of the reservation for women. Okay, so that will make a significant transformation in terms of development progress in the country. So India is rightly known as the mother of democracy. India not just the largest democracy in the world, but India is also rightly called as the mother of democracy. When India is called as the mother of democracy, there is a need for equitable representation. There is a need for equitable representation of women in the legislative assembly and the Lok Sabha. Okay. Now we are in the Amrit Kal. What is Amrit Kal? So we all know that India achieved independence, and it is now we have successfully completed the 75th 75 years after independence. So 75 years to 100 years, 75 years to 100 years, that is 2047 or 2047. So this period is known as the Amrit Kal. So therefore now we are in the period of Amrit Kal. So, and it is the right time that India should consider introducing such a bill providing one third of the reservation for women or increasing the representation for women in this Amrit Kal period. And this goal of providing representation to women should also be achieved during this period. However, please remember this quote from Ambedkar. So you can use this quote in your essay paper. Okay, so you can use this quote. So what Dr. B.R. Ambedkar says or what was his opinion on women was that the progress the progress of a community can be measured by the degree of progress which women have achieved. There are different communities, and those communities vary in terms of the degree of progress. Okay. However, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar said that he measured the progress of a community based on the progress the women have achieved in a particular community. Okay, women have achieved in a particular community. So this quote you can use when it comes to the woman related essays. And we all know that India has been striving to become a Vishwa Guru. Okay, so we follow the philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. That is, the entire world is one family. Entire world is one family. So therefore, in this context, India strives to become a Vishwa Guru, then we must not overlook the key role women can play in nation building and development. Okay, so we should not overlook the role of women in nation building and development. When we are not providing the reservation, when we are not providing adequate representation for women, which constitute 50 percentage of total population, which constitute 50 percentage of total population, and that has been leading to, you know overlooking the contribution of women in the nation building and the development. So this is all about this article. This article is very important for your paper 1. Okay, GS paper 1 society section and GS paper 2 social justice also. Okay, so please go through all these points. And the next very important news article is about IPL. We all know this is not just about IPL, but linking IPL with the climate action. Okay, linking IPL with the climate action. Now, this article particularly talks about India's net zero emission targets. Okay, net zero emission targets and India's other goals and aspirations as part of Mission Panchamrut. Okay, Mission Panchamrut, and how IPL, Indian Premier League, will help India achieve the set goals under Mission Panchamrut. Okay, Mission Panchamrut. So apart from this, how IPL or any sports event can be made more sustainable. Okay, it can be made more sustainable, and less emissions less emissions can be released from such an event, so that its environmental footprint is its footprint way lesser, and it will also help India's efforts to achieve the net zero emission target by the year 2017. Okay, see, this article don't look at from the IPL perspective. Okay, so but look at this article from the environment perspective, and this article is very important for mains exam, particularly GS paper 3. Okay, so we will discuss all these aspects as part of this article. Now, understand, IPL is not just the cricket tournament. Okay, it is not just the cricket tournament, it is a cultural phenomena. It is a cultural phenomena that has been linking the different parts of our nation. Okay, this is not just a cricket tournament, but it is a cultural phenomenon, and that has captured the hearts and minds of millions of fans worldwide. Okay, so that has captured the hearts and minds of the millions of people worldwide. However, please understand, IPL has significantly contributed for India's economy. Okay, India's economy, it has significantly contributed. How it has contributed? It has contributed through the sports tourism, and secondly, employment generation, and third, infrastructure development. So therefore, IPL has a significant contribution for India's economy. However, also understand, IPL is one of the most significant cultural and economic events in India. No doubt, IPL has been creating employment opportunities. It has been resulted in infrastructure development in different parts of our country, and it is also promoting the sports tourism. So therefore, it is very significant from the economic perspective, and not just from the economic perspective, but also from the cultural perspective. IPL plays a very significant and a very key role. Okay, now in this context, also understand IPL has a very significant environmental footprint. Okay, it has a very significant environmental footprint. Okay, so what is an environmental footprint? Environmental footprint is a particular, a particular event, how it contributes to environment. Okay, how it contributes to environment, whether the positive contribution or the negative contribution. So in case if it emits more carbon, then that would be the negative environmental footprint from the particular event. So in this context, IPL has a very significant environmental footprint. So in this context, also understand India has committed to achieve net zero target by the year 2070. Okay, we all know that as part of the mission Panchamrut, India achieved to become net zero by the year 2017. So along with that, India has also committed. This is the second commitment. Okay. So this is the first commitment. And along with this net zero emission target, India also committed reducing emission intensity of our GDP by 45 percentage. Okay. By 2030, reducing the emission intensity, total emission intensity of our economy by 45 percentage by 2030. So these are the targets which India announced as part of the mission Panchamrut. Okay, so given these objectives or these goals, there is a need to examine environmental impact of IPL. Okay, so given these goals, uh, which were announced as part of the Panchamrut, there is a need for larger examination of the impact or the environmental impact of IPL. Okay, so and once we are able to examine and understand the environmental impacts, we can be able to explore the ways to make it more sustainable, right? So we can be able to explore more and more ways to make it more sustainable and more viable. Okay, so in this context, please understand in the year 2018, in the year 2018, BCCI, Board of Control, uh, Cricket in India. Okay, so BCCI and United Nations Environment Program. So both these organizations have signed an agreement. Okay, both of these organizations have signed an agreement, and the aim or the objective of the agreement was to implement the concept of zero waste or green protocol to reduce the total wastage from the cricket stadiums. Okay, both these organizations have signed an agreement in the year 2018, and the objective of the agreement is to achieve the zero waste or green protocol or reduce the wastage in cricket stadiums. So in this way, it will help it will help reduce the overall environmental footprint of the IPL. Okay, so this is also considered as a step in the right direction. Okay, so this is also considered as a step in the right direction. However, along with the measures or the along with the environmental footprint of the IPL and its cultural and economic significance of IPL, let's also try and understand IPL has a complex and multifaceted impact on environment. So no doubt IPL has the complex and multifaceted impact on the environment because this is such a large scale event. Okay, this is such a large scale a sporting event. So in this context, uh, we do not have adequate data. Okay, we have no data to understand the impact of the such a large event on the environment or how it has been contributing to the carbon emissions. Okay, when we do not have adequate data, that hinders our ability to plan and execute effective policies. So when we do not have adequate data, that hinders our evidence based policy making. or data driven policy making. Okay, so this effectively hindering the process of evidence based policy making or the data driven policy making in India. However, adopting the climate technologies. So what are those climate technologies? Climate technologies are the technologies which reduces the impact on the climate change. Okay, now the focus will be on adapting the climate technologies and leveraging the existing advancements. Okay, also leveraging the existing technological advancements are very crucial. Okay, so they are very crucial to capture the data, on the sporting event and its influence or impact on the environment, right? So when we have the data about the impact of IPL on environment, then evidence based policy making and data driven policy making is a reality, so that the governments could come up with a better policies. Okay, could come up with a better policies, and that will help reduce the carbon emissions, from such a huge sporting event. Okay, so this data can be used to set targets and track the progress of what we set such targets, and we have certain objectives and aims. And when we have data, and that data will be used to track progress and select cost effective alternatives. Okay, that will also be used to select the cost effective alternatives. And now please understand, how can we reduce the overall emissions? So how can we reduce the overall emissions which are being generated from this event, the large scale sporting event? So there are few methods through which the emission reduction can be achieved. So one is replacing LCD screens with LED screens. Okay, LCD screens with LED screens. So IPL is being watched at homes. IPL is being watched at homes through television. Okay. So when it is an LCD, then there is a chances that they contribute higher emissions. Okay, they contribute higher emissions. But when we are able to replace the LED screens with the LCD screens with the LED screens, then the emission, would be at least 20 percentage reduction. Okay, 20 percentage reduction in overall carbon footprint. Okay, so there will be a 20% reduction in overall carbon footprint if we are able to reduce, or if we are able to replace the LCD screens with the LED screens. So this is one such method. Okay, so please understand. So you may ask why LCD screens led to, or LED screens, or replacing LCD with LED will lead to a 20 percentage reduction in overall carbon footprint, because LED screens are more electricity efficient. Okay, they are more electricity efficient. So since they are more electricity efficient, they require less electricity. Okay, they require less electricity consumption. Since they require less electricity consumption, then that would lead to lesser emissions. For example, if you use more electricity, if the devices or the appliances consume more electricity, then there is a need to generate more electricity. And we have been generating around 65 percentage of our total energy through thermal power plants. Okay, thermal power plants. If we consume more energy, then we produce more electricity through thermal power plants, and that ultimately lead to the carbon emissions. Okay, that ultimately lead to more carbon emissions. So because of these reasons, if we are able to replace the LCD screens with the LED screens, there will be at least 20 percentage reduction in the carbon emission. Okay, the overall carbon footprint. And the second is a transition to renewable energy. The IPL events, or the stadiums should make a transition to renewable energy, and that will leads to a carbon emission reduction of over 10 percentage. Okay, that will lead to the carbon emission reduction of over 10%. And thirdly, incentivization of the public transportation. Okay. So incentivization of public transportation will reduce the carbon emissions and will also reduce the traffic congestion. Okay, will also reduce the traffic congestion. So in this way, we should also focus on incentivizing the use of public transportation by the people, and that will lead to significant reduction in environmental emissions, at least 85%. Okay, that will lead to the significant reduction in a total environmental emissions or the carbon emissions, so up to 85%. However, one of the most pressing challenge on the path to achieve net zero society or net zero target is the urgent need for rapid transition. Okay, so there will be a need for a sustainable alternatives, like public transportation is an alternative, renewable energy is an alternative, replacing LCD screens with the LED screens is an alternative. So therefore there is a need to make a rapid transition to achieve the net zero society, to achieve the net zero society. Okay, however, please also understand, sorry, the global temperature underscores the importance of raising awareness. Okay, so the global temperatures have been rising, and the Paris Agreement, with the objective of limiting climate change up to 1.5 degrees Celsius, maximum of 2 degrees Celsius. Now, after the advent of the industrial revolution, the global temperatures have been increasing at a faster pace. So, therefore, there is a need to raise awareness about and the increasing speed for transition. Okay, not just raising awareness. Along with the raising awareness, there is a need to make a faster transition into the available alternatives so that the global temperatures could be further reduced or minimized. So understand, the global temperatures have already over 1.1 degree Celsius. Okay, 1.1 degree Celsius. So the target is actually limiting it to 1.5 degree Celsius if possible by the end of this century. By the end of this century. But we already had achieved 1.1 degrees Celsius above the pre-industrial levels. So India has been experiencing at least 11 of 15 warmest years. So out of 15 warmest years, India has already experienced 11 warmest years. So therefore, that will lead to heat wave like condition. Okay, that will lead to heat wave like condition, and that will further reduce India's total productivity, whether it is about the agricultural productivity or the economic productivity. And not just heat wave, there are chances that it will create severe water crisis. Okay, severe water crisis in India, and will also lead to the rise in sea surface temperatures. So if there is a rise in sea surface temperature, that would possibly submerge the coastal areas. Okay, that will possibly submerge the coastal areas. And if coastal communities adequate space lack adequate space, then that would further significantly impact their livelihoods. Okay, impact their livelihoods, and not just livelihoods, it creates significant social disparities among the people. Okay, so along with creating social disparities and livelihood challenges, it will also create the food insecurity or food security related challenges because of increasing temperatures. It will also increase the intensity of droughts, floods, and cyclones. Okay, so therefore there is a need, or therefore an imperative for collective action. Okay, therefore an imperative for collective action against increasing temperatures. Okay, so however, Indian Meteorological Department attributed heat wave like condition to increasing temperatures. Okay, so Indian Department has said that increasing heat wave like condition in India is because of global warming. Okay, so as a one voice in climate action. So IPL has provided a significant opportunity for India to take a lead role in promoting climate action by prioritizing sustainability. Okay, now in India's climate action, IPL provides a very key opportunity. Okay, very key opportunity, and Indian Indian people and the Indian government can use IPL as an opportunity to take a lead role in promoting climate action by prioritizing sustainability. Okay. However, also understand the organization's broad social platform, that is IPL's broad social platform. It can be used to reach different sections of the society or different regions. So therefore it has a broad social platform, and that can effectively influence attitudes toward the sustainability. Okay, that can effectively influence the attitudes of people towards the sustainability and reach out to people from all backgrounds and areas. So it can be used to reach out to people from all backgrounds and all areas, and it will help promote education, awareness on the environmental issues or the pressing environmental challenges. Okay, now IPL can encourage a healthier and more sustainable lifestyle. Okay, so this is also very important article, especially from the perspective of GS3 environment. Okay, GS3 environment. So please remember all these points or revise these points. Okay, so the next very important news article is Indian Meteorological Department predicts more heat wave days Eastern India in May. Okay, so this year India may experience heat wave. The main reason for India to experience heat wave this year is because of El Nino like condition. Okay, El Nino like conditions. So what exactly is El Nino? El Nino is El Nino is the sorry this is the Pacific Ocean. Okay, this is the Pacific Ocean actually. Now, in a normal year, the Western Pacific Ocean is warmer, and the Eastern Pacific Ocean is cooler. But during El Nino years, there is a reversal takes place. There is a reversal. The reversal is actually in a normal years. What happens if Western Pacific Oceans have the warmer temperatures? Then that would augment the Indian monsoon. Okay, that would further augment or influences the Indian monsoon, and India experiences above average rainfall. Okay, above average rainfall and rainfall over Indonesia and Australia as well. Okay, Indonesia and Australia as well, but this is the case in normal periods. But on the other hand, El Nino periods, what happens that the warm waters of the Western Pacific would replace the cold waters in the Eastern Pacific. Okay, would replace the cold waters in the Eastern Pacific, and that led to floods in the west of South America and North America, and on the other hand, droughts in Indonesia, Australia. Okay, so this will lead to droughts in India, and because this will reduce the influence of monsoon over the Indian subcontinent, and this will further create or augment heat wave like condition over India. Okay, heat wave like condition over India. Now, in this context, what Indian Meteorological Department says that May, that is actually the hottest month in the most of India, is likely to be particularly scorching. Okay, it will be more scorching in larger parts of eastern India. Okay, it will be particularly very scorching in large parts of eastern India. Okay, so now this part, sorry, so this part will experience this part, the eastern Indian part will experience a scorching heat. Okay, because of El Nino like condition. El Nino like condition. But on the other hand, the Indian Meteorological Department says that Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, this still experience a lesser heat wave condition. Okay, they will experience a lesser heat wave like condition because of rainfall, because of rainfall. So these areas may experience rainfall. Because of this reason, there is a less impact of heat wave over Delhi, Haryana, Punjab, and Rajasthan. So this is what the Indian Meteorological Department is actually saying. And apart from this, India this year will experience below normal rainfall or below average rainfall. The main reason for this is because of El Nino like condition. Okay, so I have already explained what is El Nino and how El Nino impacts the overall Indian monsoon. Because of El Nino like condition, this year India will experience the below normal rainfall. Okay, below normal rainfall. But even though India experiences the below normal rainfall, there is a significant influence of heat wave on India. So there will be a significant influence of heat wave on India. So particularly in the states of Jharkhand, Odisha, Bihar, and the Gangetic West Bengal, eastern Uttar Pradesh, coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Telangana. Okay, so these states will experience severe heat wave like conditions. However, compared to the north areas, compared to north and northwestern India, these states which we already mentioned, these states have less temperatures. Okay, these states will have a less temperatures. But why, even though they have less temperatures, then why heat wave like condition? That is mainly because of the moisture. Okay, that is mainly because of the moisture and the humidity in the atmosphere along with a temperature. So because of these conditions, it poses significant health risks. It poses significant health risks across the eastern India. Okay, sorry. Okay, now we'll try and understand what causes a heat wave like condition. Okay, so what exactly causes a heat wave? Now understand, heat waves are generally the result of trapped air. Okay, so heat waves form when high pressure. Heat waves generally form high pressure like conditions. Uh, when high pressure aloft strengthens and remains over a region for several days or several weeks. Okay, see, you can observe here, this is the actual atmosphere, and there is a high pressure. When there is a high pressure, the air below will not escape. Okay, so this high pressure like condition remain for several weeks or several days. Okay, high pressure systems force the air inward. So high pressure system force air inward, and this force prevents the air near the ground from rising. So this air will not rise. Okay, this air will not rise. So since this air cannot rise, the sinking air acts like a cap, and it acts like a cap, and it traps warm ground air in place. So the air remains on ground for more number of days and weeks. However, also understand, this high concentration of pressure makes it difficult for other weather systems to move into. So because of this high pressure, and it is acting like a cap, that makes it difficult for other weather systems to move in into this area, and which is why heat wave can also last for several days and several weeks. So because of this reason, heat wave also lasts for several weeks and several days. Okay, so the high pressure inhibits the winds, and it also prevents clouds from entering the region. Okay, so it will also prevent the clouds from high reach to the ground. Because of these reasons, the end result is continual buildup of heat and the surface that people experience as heat wave. Okay, so because of high pressure acts as a cap, the air will not escape and the outside air will not enter into this area, so therefore people will experience heat wave like condition. Now understand heat wave. What is a heat wave? Heat wave is exactly 4.5 degrees Celsius to 6.4 degrees Celsius above normal or maximum temperature is called as heat wave. Okay, this is based on the departure from the normal temperatures. Okay, this is actually based on the departure from the normal temperatures. And heat wave like condition 4.5 degrees Celsius to 6.4 degrees Celsius above the normal maximum temperatures. Also understand severe heat wave, what happens more than 6.4 degrees Celsius above the normal maximum, and that is categorized as severe heat wave. Okay, that is categorized as severe heat wave. So this is just to understand the definition of heat wave. Okay, we also understood the causes of heat wave. Next important news article is regarding the core sectors. Okay, this is regarding the core sector. See, for the prelims exam point of view, this core sectors is very important. So before actually discussing, please first understand the core sector. The main or the key industries in any economy. There are main industries or the key industries, and they constitute the core sector. Okay, these industries constitute core sector. In India there are 8 industries which constitute the core sector. Okay, there are 8 industries which constitute the core sector. What are they? They include electricity, steel, refinery products, crude oil, coal, cement, natural gas, and fertilizers. So these 8 industries consider or constitute the core sector or the core industries. So the weight of these industries, the respective weight of these industries, will discuss later. But please remember, these are 8 core industries, and these form the key industries or the core industries of Indian economy. Okay, so these sectors have a major impact on Indian economy. So, for example, if these sectors perform better, then the Indian economy will also perform better. Indian economy will experience a positive rate of growth. Okay, and this will also impact other industries, because the refinery, the crude oil, coal, cement are like a basic industries, like, right? So if they perform better, then that would also influence the performance of other industries. The 8 industries have combined share of 40 percentage of 14.27 percentage. Okay, so in the total index of industrial production, in the index of industrial production, so this is a production from all the industries. Okay, the index of industrial production. So out of the total industries in the index of industrial production, the 8 core industries constitute around 40.27 percentage. Okay, 40.27 percentage. So which gives the growth rates of different industry groups in a specified period. Okay, so also understand the index of industrial production. The index of industrial production, the 8 core industries are prepared by, so who prepare this index of industrial production? Economic advisor, office of the economic advisor. This is under Ministry of Commerce and Industry. So please remember, this is published every month, and this is published by office of the economic advisor of Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce and Industry. Okay, this is published every month. The index of industrial production, the 8 core industries data is published every month, and it is published by the Ministry of Commerce and Industry under, it is published by the Office of the Economic Advisor, Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade under Ministry of Commerce and Industry, right? So the index of core industries gives indication of the production performance of industries which are core in nature. Okay, these are core in nature, and it will also measure individual and collective performances of the production of 8 core industries. Okay, so this is all about the index of core industries and index of industrial production. The core industries are part of the index of industrial production, and in the index of industrial production, the core industries constitute around 40.27 percentage share. Okay, now the core sectors, the 8 core sectors output, the total output of the 8 core sectors dipped to a 5-month low. Okay, it dipped to a 5-month low of 3.6 percentage. 3.6 percentage. That means the core sector performed negatively, or core sector performed performance is low. Okay. Now understand the weightage of these industries. The weightage of these industries. The highest weightage is given to petroleum and refinery. See, in the year 2014, UPSC asked a question. So, which of the following core industries the highest weight? Have the highest weight. Okay, so please go through the weightage of all these industries. The petroleum and refinery have the highest weightage of 28.44 percentage, followed by electricity, steel production, coal production, crude oil production, natural gas production, with the lowest, weightage of fertilizer production. Okay, so please go through the weightage of all these industries. And next, very important news article for the culture perspective. This is very important, culture and history, and for prelims this is very important. Okay, so this is about Raja Ravi Verma. Okay, this is about Raja Ravi Verma. He was actually a painter during the colonial times from India. Okay, so please first understand about Raja Ravi Verma, and then we'll discuss this article. Actually, he is remembered for giving Indians their Western and classical representation of Hindu gods and goddesses. Okay, Raja Ravi Verma is traditionally remembered for giving Indian the Western and classical representation, a Western representation and classical representation of Hindu gods and goddesses, right? Raja Ravi Verma. So actually, Raja Ravi Verma was born in an aristocratic family in Travancore, Kerala. Okay, he was born in Kerala, and at the age of 14, Raja Ravi Verma patronized by Ailayam Tirunal. Okay, Ailayam Tirunal, the then ruler of Travancore, and he was patronized and went to receive training at watercolors from Ramaswamy Naidu, the royal painter. Now, what are the contributions of Raja Ravi Verma? He made around 7,000 paintings. Okay, he made around 7,000 paintings. So, apart from painting Hindu mythological figures, Raja Ravi Verma also made portraits of many Indians as well as Europeans. Okay, so Raja Ravi Verma worked on both portrait and landscape paintings. Okay, this is a portrait painting, and this will be a landscape painting, and is considered among the first Indian artists to use oil paints. Okay, he was actually the first Indian to use the oil paints. He continues to be regarded as the most important representative of Europeanized school of painting in India. Okay, so Indian painting is Europeanized by Raja Ravi Verma. Okay, Raja Ravi Verma, and use he is the first one to use the oil paints. Okay, this is all about Raja Ravi Verma. For the prelims perspective, this is very important. Now let's jump into this article. The last unfinished work of Raja Ravi Verma to be a public display. Okay, so Raja Ravi Verma's 175th birth anniversary. So 175th birth anniversary. So the Parsi lady painting, this was actually unfinished by Raja Ravi Verma. So he was died when he is painting this. So it was largely unfinished painting. Okay, this was the Parsi lady painting. Okay, now the Kilimanur Palace Trust. Okay, Kilimanur Palace Trust is planning to display this Parsi lady painting of Raja Ravi Verma on the eve of his 175th birth anniversary. Okay, on the 157th birth anniversary. So please remember, in UPSC you may get the question, the painting of Parsi lady is related to which of the following painters? So you can opt for Raja Ravivarma. So please remember this. So, an unfinished painting by Raja Ravivarma, who defined Indian art traditions during the colonial times. So, he defined Indian art, Indian painting during the colonial times, will be in the public domain. Okay, so the painting was the Parsi Lady, and this was now owned by Kilimanur Palace Trust. And this was actually the last painting, and it was unfinished by the legendary artist. uh, Raja Ravivarma was died in the year 1906. Okay, 1906, and inside, okay, inside Chitrashala. Okay, so he was died in Chitrashala, the art studio at Kilimanur Palace Trust. So this is about the Raja Ravivarma and the Parsi Lady painting that was unfinished, but on the eve of his 150th birth anniversary, the Kilimanur Palace Trust is planning to display or put it in the public domain. Okay, so this is all about Raja Ravivarma, and we have discussed all the relevant and important news articles in this class. Okay, thank you.